Hello, welcome friends and neighbours. This is Faisal Hassan, your Member Provincial Parliament for York South Western. And tonight I'm here with a virtual town hall meeting with the residents of 2419 Keele Street. Before we begin our conversation tonight, I want to acknowledge the land we now know as York South Western is a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuits, and Métis. Welcome, friends and neighbors. And tonight I'm joined by a town hall meeting with members of our community residents of the building 2419 Keele Street. And tonight we are talking about their issues. They have lived there for many, many years, and 2419 Keele Street is home to 12 families, many of whom have lived in the building for decades. They include seniors, new parents, frontline workers helping us get through COVID-19, frontline heroes that have been really instrumental in moving things for us in this pandemic. They have paid their rent in full and on time for years, over 20 years, including this last difficult months of COVID. Their new landlord recently purchased the property and swiftly issued N13 renovation notices, informing the residents they must leave with 3 months. No one should be thrown out of their home during a pandemic, a general pandemic. I'm urging the Ford government to give better protections to renters against the growing trend of renovictions by large corporation landlords. Particularly, this landlord's name is called Raleigh Real Estate Ventures. This is the new landlord who has bought this building. First and foremost, I would like to welcome my guest tonight and also invite you also to join live Faisal Hassan, NDP, to also include your comments and your questions if you have any for our neighbors. First, I will welcome all of you, and I'll start with Flynn.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Yes, and I know that Flynn, you have lived there for 10 years, and that's many, many years you have been there that long. And the building I visited yesterday, it's clean, it's well maintained because of the tenants like yourself. And now we hear that the landlord wants to do renovations, and the practice, many landlords do the renovations while the tenants are there. It can be done. Why this landlord, Real Estate Ventures, is not doing that and is requesting or demanding that you be leaving this building, which is your home?
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. What Brendan Riley and Riley Real Estate Ventures are doing, as many other companies and corporations are doing in our city and in Ontario, are under the guise of a huge renovation of the building in which tenants are living in, using it as an opportunity to get rid of the tenants and the rent that they're currently paying, and essentially use it as an excuse to have new tenants come in and raise the rent to an unaffordable price that we can simply not afford. So the result of this is that we will be out of our home. We will be out of our affordable price range for rent. And the community that we live in will suffer because it will bring up the rents of everything else around there. Eventually, there just won't be a place for working people to live in the city, because if we can't even live in some of the lowest rent in the city right now, then we can't live anywhere. And it's a very scary proposition, because when we received those eviction notices, the first thought was, where are we going to go? what are we going to do? If you look at rent prices right now, they have skyrocketed. It is very, very difficult to find affordable housing, not only in the GTA, but even the surrounding areas. This is really an attempt to take advantage of not only the pandemic, but also the wild skyrocketing rate of rent in Toronto, and it is a tactic to basically get rid of working class people. Brendan Riley, in a video today, showing off his Kingswood apartment that he successfully renovicted the tenants from, ended it with saying that he will improve the community by bringing in AAA tenants. I don't know what was wrong with the tenants before. This is not the first time he said this. His idea is that he will bring in better tenants. Tenants are just human beings who live in a place, and I suppose that means that we are not good enough human beings for him. So right now we've organized and we've done everything we can to push back against this. We're still afraid. We still don't know what the future is, and we're really just looking for any support we can get right now and put as much pressure on the current landowner that he retracts his N13 notices, and we'll be able to live in peace without this stress hanging over our heads.
Very good. I mean, that's a very good point. And I think you have been a good tenant. I have seen the building. I've went to every floor on yesterday, and it's really well maintained. And thanks to having a tenant who care their home. This is your home. And there has never been any issues with regard to, behind any rent, anything like that. And I don't understand why we are allowing in this province Renovictions, evicting tenants who are decent, hardworking members of our community, frontline workers who are contributing so much for York South-Weston and for Toronto. I want to bring Juliet. Before I take folks who are also joining us, I will be able to read your comments. Folks who are joining us from Faisal Hassan NDP. But Juliet, yes, tell you, how long have you lived there?
I've been living, well, my family has been there for 10 years. Flynn is my son. I think I raised him beautifully. And I don't have very much to add to what he has said, other than this is unbelievably stressful. And the reason we have these low rents is because we have been very good tenants. We came in at a market rate at the time and maintained good tenancy throughout a very long period. So we are not people who have taken advantage of anything. We have simply lived our lives and worked hard to have what we have. It's a humble home, but it's really our home, and the neighbors are lovely and very, very hardworking. As you said, this city has been running right now on the backs of the kind of people who live in 2419, and I'm very proud to be their neighbor.
And we are proud of you, the work you do, and I think this is not fair, this is wrong, and definitely we need to stop these renovictions. This is your home, and I think we want also the Brandon Raleigh real estate venture who just bought this building to understand and the situations, because these are good tenants. And if you're a businessman, you want good tenants who pays your rent on time. And they've been doing that, and also not only paying rent, but they were also treating as their home for so many years. So we will ask him to withdraw the eviction notices, the N19 notices that he has served, and work with the tenants and welcome back to the table. I think that will be the right thing to do, and that also makes sense. It will be a good business sense for Brandon Raleigh Real Estate Ventures. I will bring Malprit Gakotan to say also your experience, and I know that when I visited there, you also lived many years there as well.
Yes, we're actually happy to be here, to be part of this. We also would like to just voice out. We have here for almost 9 years, my mom and my grandmother. And the stress that we've gone through over the past week is, I wouldn't say unbearable because we wouldn't be sitting here, but I mean, it's definitely something that that shouldn't have been added on to any of us, especially at a time like this in the middle of a pandemic. And last year, my mom actually, lost her job. So we are still recovering for that. Now she is employed, we both are. But I just want to clarify to many people that we are always paying our rent on time. We always just make that happen. This isn't an issue of no rent payments or we're not living in a place where it's not livable for a renovation to happen. And I'd want to just express my support to everyone living in 19.
Well, thank you very much. Before I take Philip and Paul and Andrew, I just want to welcome folks who are joining us on Facebook. And the York Southwestern Tenant Unions have said, just comment quickly, solidarity from York Southwestern Tenant Union. We are fighting renovictions all over the neighborhood. Great to see you put up a fight. Happy to help in whichever way is needed. So that is also solidarity from York Southwestern Tenant Union. Just commenting here. And Jenna Jones says, living in peace is so important. New people who have no loyalty to the building could trash the place. How does that save money for the owner? And I welcome Jay and welcome all of you who are joining us. I will also tend to call. I know that this is your home, this is your community, as your neighbors have also lived, a majority of them over 20 years. How long have you lived there, Cole?
Hi, my name's Cole Weber. I work at Parkdale Community Legal Services. I've just been supporting the tenants as best I can.
Oh, very good. Oh, that's awesome.
And I just want to take one moment just to say that I think that members of the community can support the tenants by putting as much pressure as possible on Riley Real Estate Ventures and Brendan Riley, who is the owner of that company, to withdraw these N13 eviction notices immediately. And this is a guy who prides himself in making his money by evicting tenants. He's got a very public profile, so people need to hear, people need to make him hear that what he's doing is not acceptable and will not be tolerated. And I also want to just say that during this time, there are literally tens of thousands of tenants facing eviction across the city. And we're living in a time where the economic recession has created a situation where many tenants simply have been unable to pay rent in full during the months of the crisis. And, despite all the attempts by landlords and this government to characterize tenants as cheaters or leeches, the real situation is that people have lost their jobs and haven't been able to pay. So evictions for unpaid rent also need to be taken off the table during this time. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the support for the community. And that's right. I think the right thing to do, Brandon Raleigh Real Estate Adventures, is just to withdraw that N19 and work with the tenants. As also many have also witnessed here, they have been a good tenants, and just to treat human beings like a profit, and just look the bottom line, and just to simply get evict them, and then also expect to have a new tenants and raise the rent makes no sense at all. And we want Ford conservatives to intervene this, because this is the right thing to do in my community. And you can also hear the voices of the tenants who have been loyal to the owners of 2419 Keele Street. Maria, you have been patient. I know you have been also living there for many years there. Tell me how long have you lived there and what has been the experience?
Hi, thank you, Faisal Hassan, for inviting us here to hear our stories. Why we need to fight back. Um, First of all, I live here for I think 8 years, but my mom lived here for a long time, like 10 years. Yeah. Um. I just I'm here because I just want to show I'm supporting my neighbor, the 2419, and awareness to the other people that um because I saw it to the internet, the comments. I want to clarify all that we paying the rent. Yeah, they said it already, and yeah, we don't want this situation to happen to other people. That's why, yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. Andre, I know you've been patient there, uh, and you also had a new baby recently. This is also
Yes,
a community of children, elderly, and these are frontline workers as well who are really contributing so much, and we treat them like this. This is not right. We have to do something to stop this. Yes, Andre.
of course. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us and for listening to our story and trying to publish it even more further and helping us. So me and my mom have been living here for about 24 years. So pretty much my whole life. Like you said, I'm a first-time mom. I just had a baby 5 months ago. So imagine one day we're living here peacefully, and then the next day we're getting this N13 notice. It just adds a huge weight on our shoulders. I'm not saying that being a mother is not a weight in my shoulders, but having an N13 is it just makes it so much more stressful. It's hard. So yeah, having this it's I don't know. I feel like Brandon is what he's doing is very inhumane. It's cruel. I don't know. He can't do this to us. It's our home for many years. We've been paying our rent every month, even regarding this pandemic, where many of us have maybe our job has lowered or increased in some way. We're still paying our rent. And then he's saying that we can come back, but that's not the case. And then he's also been saying that an N13 notice is not an eviction notice, which is also not the case. If you do research and you go into the website, the Lenin and Tenant Board website, they say that it's an eviction notice. So he needs to stop lying to us and own up to what he's doing.
Absolutely. And I think Renovictions has to be banned in this province. We don't need it. And how do you reward a decent, hardworking tenant who have been contributing their buildings, their homes as theirs and looking after it? When I saw it yesterday, I was surprised how clean, how nice a community it is. I mean, and the community are happy, the tenants are happy. This is greedy, to be honest with you, a greedy landlord. And I think Brandon Raleigh, Real Estate Ventures, should withdraw the eviction notices because it is the right thing to do in the middle of a pandemic. And I think also the Premier must intervene and say no renovictions in Ontario. Absolutely. And Philip, you have been waiting patiently there. I know that. How long have you lived here?
So I'm also not a tenant at the building. Like Cole, I've just been supporting the tenants. And I think, I mean, I can't really add to anything they've said or that Cole said. I think they've spoken incredibly well. So just here to support them. Very
good. That's excellent. And I think the entire York Southwestern, including the York Southwestern Tenants Union, and every folks who have written to me, they have all been supporting. And I think this is also, I hope that Brandon Raleigh understands it also a good business to show that he cares about the community, a community in which he's investing, buying property, that he's also part of the community. And that way, it is too street, that you look after the community overall by simply respecting your tenants and working with them. And definitely I will write to him to actually have a meeting, to have a discussion with him, Brandon Raleigh State Venture, and to ask him directly to withdraw the eviction notices, because I do believe as a representative of this community is the right thing to do. And you've never had any problems with your previous landlords? Has there been any issues?
No.
And every time, you know, if the tenants are contributing very meaningful way, they're looking after the property, they're looking after their units, and the property looks good, then what is the problem here? And I don't understand, you know. And we know what Renovictions is. Renovictions is basically just taking back those units for personal use, they say, and then perhaps making it to evict, and then increase the ransom. I know that another tenant is joining. Is that someone is joining new? And those of you who are joining, you are joining us a virtual town hall meeting with residents of 2419 Keele Street. They have received, when a new landlord bought their building, 2419, and that's about 12 units, 12 families live there. It's a small, mid-sized building on Keele Street, north of Lawrence, and they have lived ranging from 25 years to 10 years, and this has been their home, their community, and have been really an example to the other tenants in our neighborhood, that they've been looking after the community, they've been looking after their homes, they've been paying their rent on time. Now a new investor, a new owner comes in by the name of Brandon Raleigh Real Estate Ventures, who have just sent the notices of N13 notices, served them in the middle of the pandemic. And if, I will also include your comments, folks who are joining us. If you have any questions for our neighbors and residents of 2419 Keele Street, I will also include. Quickly, I see Naima says, thank you for telling us your stories. And also Omera Landy says, another example of one person who has a lot of money wanting to make even more money at the expense of a community of hardworking Torontarians. And Omera Landy, and the exception to this folks, these 12 members of our community, is that they have been a role model to tenants. They have looked after their units, they have paid their rents on time, they are frontline workers, they are seniors, they are children, they are parents, they are young people who are looking after our communities. So we should have all of us, including the Premier, the Minister of Municipal Housing, Municipal Affairs and Housing, should be able to intervene and say, this kind of practice is not needed here in Ontario and must end. And Janet says, no help from owner to recall. So here, a new owner, okay, just says a provincial government does not give a damn. Okay, well, thank you folks for joining us, and we will also include your comments as we have the conversation with a virtual town hall meeting with the tenants, residents, our neighbors, members of our community from 2419 Keele Street. And Kamran Faisal, would you like to tell us how long have you lived there? Can you hear me? And I think Omero is asking, and somebody who's joining us on Facebook, do you know how much Brandon Raleigh Real Estate Venture paid for the apartment building? That's a question we don't know, but I think probably maybe, I have no idea, but we might be able to find that later on. But Kamran Faisal is joining us also, who is also a resident of 2419 Keele Street. Kamran, how long have you lived there?
I am living here for almost more than 20 years. So this is our like a home, and we just came from Canada, came in Canada, and we are living there from like more than 20 years. And now it just happened right away. One day he came, he bought it, and in 2, 3, 4 days, he just gave us a notice to evict the building. We never know anything about it, who bought it, when they are going to sell. We nothing know anything about it. And in just 1 week, they are going to now do this, and they want to demolish this building. They want to do this one. We want to evacuate the people from here. That's not fair. This is our home. We lived here from so long, and it's not fair with us because he want to make more money. It's not like we never miss 1 month without our rent. Whatever is happened to us, how we can give them, but we always give them rent on time. We never been missed by the our rent or anything, and we have no disturbance like like other tenants. We have no here any activities, bad activities or nothing. We are good tenants here. All here live like a community, but I don't know what's going on in here.
Absolutely. Well, I'll say that it is just, making money. How much money is enough? If we asked Brandon Raleigh, these are decent, hardworking, and they are frontline workers who we call heroes. Our premier called you heroes. And if that is the case, how come does the government need to buy this building from Brandon Raleigh and allow you to stay here, or do they need to intervene and ban Renovictions? I think that would be the easiest way. Just ban Renovictions and intervene immediately, because this is not right. I see Andrea raising your hand. You want to say something? No? Okay.
Can I say something quickly?
Yes.
If people are wondering why we don't want lovely new apartments to move back into, if you look at Brendan Riley's practice, the tenants are not getting back into those buildings. He is not. His intention, clearly from his business practice already, is that those tenants are never seen again. So we would love lovely new cupboards and painted walls, etc. He can certainly work with us slowly over time to upgrade the apartments and renovate them and raise the rent according to the law, and everybody would be very happy with that. That is not the case here.
Absolutely. And what you just said is just fair. And there are many practices that many landlords in our community that they are doing renovations while the community is still living there. If that is the case, then if the landlords are not genuine and they are deceiving the public with this kind of methods of renovictions, then we have a responsibility as the members of provincial parliament to do something, because it is not good business. It's a good practice of simply deceiving not only the loyal tenants, but all of us, members of the community. And just if the goal is just to evict them, get out of here, well, this is their community. They have lived over 20 years. They have no any other community to go to. Where will they go? Where else? This is their community. So that's why I think Brandon Raleigh, a real estate venture, should withdraw immediately his N19. And as the tenants have said, that they pay their rents, there's no problem working with you to actually allow those renovations to occur while they are living in this community. I think we should maybe invite him a next meeting probably and ask him just do that. Yes, Flynn, and then after Kamran. First, Flynn.
I just want to say that while we are doing everything we can to make sure that we don't have to leave here, we did have a conversation with Brendan Riley. We gave him a letter. We put all of our requests in it. It was, if anyone wants a copy, it was very polite. We were making sure he knew that we cannot afford to leave. This isn't a choice for us. This is not being difficult. It is life or death, really, honestly, especially in a pandemic where hundreds of thousands, millions of people have died. So we did talk to him and we brought these things up. I personally said, hey, work with us. You would still make money. We will still pay our rent on time, as we've always done. You will still make money. If you renovate the place in a way where we don't have to leave, the property value still goes up. And, if we ever, when we leave on our terms, if we ever want to do that, you can charge whatever you want because you've put a lot of work into the building. But that was not acceptable. It was not even a thing that was going to be discussed. So I just want to clarify that we are completely reasonable. We are completely open to discussion. We just cannot afford to leave. That's it. So anything within that, we are willing to talk. We are willing to discuss, and we brought that up with him. And unfortunately, he did not reply to our letter, and he did not seem interested in continuing that conversation.
Well, that's fair to me. I mean, I think that's very important. You wrote to him, you explained, and that's reasonable thing to do, as you have been having a track record of being a good tenant. There have to be rewards of being following the rules, doing the right things, looking after the community, looking after your units, and I think that makes sense. But the practice Brandon Riley and the example he's setting is not a good business sense. And I think is the right thing to do is to simply withdraw and do the right thing in the middle of a pandemic to just evict our heroes, our frontline workers, members of our community, seniors, young children, and frontline workers. That is not right. And because of this reason, Minister, Housing Affairs and Municipality, and the Premier must send a strong message and say, no, this cannot happen in our province. And I think that's the right thing to do. And I think we should pressure the government and everybody to speak to Brandon Riley to stop this, because it's not the right thing to do. It's wrong. Kamran, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was going to let you know, like, we are agree if he want to do just the renovation, that's not a big deal. We can, whatever he wants, like, absolutely, the building doesn't need renovation like that to demolish the whole building. It just need a little bit work somewhere. If he want to do this way only, we are available for him anytime, whatever he want, we can give him permission or whatever he want. He can come to the house, whatever he want to fix or floors or whatever, he can do that one. But he's not coming to that point. And he's not even listen to us about those issues.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense to me. You are very reasonable tenants, and also you have a track record of actually maintaining your units, your building. When I visited yesterday, I was surprised how clean and nice it is. And it is because to you take it seriously, you treat it as your home, and that also actually helps the landlord to have such a great tenant. We hear a lot of landlords saying that, we're evicting these people because they didn't pay rent. That's not the case here. People are been paying on time.
Yes.
Of the month. There's no any issues in that. So how much more money do you want to simply evict them and then simply raise, the rent and be greedy? That's not right. And I think the right thing to do here, Brandon Riley Real Estate Ventures, is to just withdraw the N13. And I think the entire community tonight, and the entire province is hearing you. And I think take a leadership, do the right thing, and work with the tenants. And whatever the value is, still your property will go up, because by doing whatever renovations you're doing will be helpful. Okay, Kamran, you want to mute, or you want to say something?
No, it's okay. I'm just talking about to my wife. She want to, like, everybody's agree with that one. If we need that much renovation time, like we have 2 bedroom, So if he want to do something in our living room, or he want to do something in our kitchen, we can move on a one room and we can give them the access to whole area. Like if he want, like, oh, maybe he will make excuse, oh, I need freedom for my labor or whatever. So he can come, we can move on a one side or in one room or whatever, and then he can do whatever he want to do in that one.
Absolutely, that makes sense to me.
Like whatever we can do for him, whatever we can do for him. If you want to go with the apartment and come back, I know it will never happen. If I will move away from here, how I will be the stupid that come back again after 18 months living somewhere else and then come back again in this situation of pandemic.
Makes no
Like
sense.
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't
Yeah.
even make any sense of that one.
Mhm. No, we hear you that if you're not speaking, just unmute Kamran so that others can hear. I think we have another tenant. Linders is here. I know, Linders, how long have you lived here as well? Can you hear me? Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, yeah, we hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, we live here 7 years already, and this is like our home now, right? And the only problem we have is if we move out, because I don't work first, because I lost my job because of pandemic. Second one, my mom is sick. She's a survivor on cancer, and only my wife is working. So yeah, which is hard for us if we move. We don't have enough money to move out, right? It's like imagine spending $4,000 for first and last if you move out, which is especially right now you need to rent uh, a mover so that to bring your stuff, which is hard too, and it's hard to move back and forth in this time of pandemic. So.
And you never had any issues with your landlord, like your
No issue
neighbor?
here since
Yeah.
I came here. No issue, which is good. This is a very peaceful area, which is good. Like accessible to everything. Especially my mom is sick. It's nearby to the hospital. I have a son. I have a 15 months old son, and my wife is working downtown, which is more accessible because subway is nearby. So yeah, that's it.
Very good. I think this is your home, and this is
Yeah.
the story that all of you have shared, that you love your community. You've lived here for years, and now this new landlord, Brandon Raleigh Real Estate Ventures, wants to have a different kind of a tenant, which I don't know even using. He doesn't understand the importance of having a good tenant that pays to you every month on time. There, makes sense. I will bring maybe Cole and Parkdale High Park Little Clinic to see this trend has been going on lately. So do we know any other buildings that Brandon Raleigh belongs, that he has done similar things, that he has put tenants in the streets?
Yes, he has. And actually, I think Phil can speak to this in a bit more detail than I can, so I'll pass it to him.
Yeah, I think we know that he's done this at least once before. The properties that they've done on their other projects certainly raises questions about whether they've done this on top of that. But I think the more important point is that it's important to understand that for Riley, this is good business. Like, I think for him, the idea that, trying to get these tenants out isn't going to increase his profits, I think misunderstands what the relationship is. I think by tenants putting pressure, they can make this not a good business decision. But basically what he's trying to do is just do something that's going to increase his bottom line when it comes to this building. So I think tenants have shown that they're united, that they're capable of fighting back, and they've already demonstrated a lot of strength in pushing back on him and putting pressure on him. And I think that's where you try to, demonstrate to him that, this isn't a practice that's going to be tolerated. But I think there's certainly tension with the tenant's interests and his financial interests, which is what he's allowing himself to be guided by right now. So I think that's important to recognize.
Very good. Well, I think since we know that this a landlord has been, particularly Brandon Raleigh Real Estate Ventures, have done this practice and now coming to our community and trying to evict decent, hardworking members of our community who are frontline workers, people who are really essential workers, have contributed so much. And
Want to say anything?
these are heroes. And now, Annalisa, could you just hi? Could you just welcome first? But if you're not speaking, mute. But now I welcome you since you just joined. How long have you lived here?
It's around like probably 8 to 9 years. I was watching, but because my camera is not working, but I listen some.
Okay, good. Very good. So I mean, like your neighbors, you have also been a good tenant. Did you had any issues with your landlord in the past? You paid your rent on time?
Yeah, I never miss even like I never miss even like days. I always pay on the right time. Anyhow, I always, my priority to pay my rent.
Very good. I mean, this is the dream of any landlord, to have, tenants who look after your property, tenants who are cleaning, doing the right things, paying your rent on time, and this is how they are treated. This is not right. And we see now the rules of tenant and landlord relationship is not working for Ontario, and we need to ban Renovictions because the intention is not genuine. The intention is deceiving. It simply means that we are going to remove decent, hardworking tenants who have been loyal to their community, and then expect that they will have a new tenants who will pay more. And what happens if they are not like you, and that's not really the right thing to do in our community here. I want to also welcome those of you who are joining us live, Faisal Hassan, NDP, and we'll also include your comments and also your questions to our neighbors and residents of 2419 Keele Street. I welcome all of you, and I will just hear Emina Kosechka says hello to residents of 2419. Much solidarity from our building at 1475 King Street in Parkdale. We are also fighting evictions in our building. Well, tenants united in solidarity. Thank you very much for your support for our community here in York Southwestern and tenants of 2419 Keele Street. I know that is there anything else you would like to tell the people of York Southwestern, because you have lived here over 20 years. Some of you have lived average 10 years, and this has been your home for so long. What are you telling now to ask everybody in York Southwestern to do?
First of all, again, thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak. What's really important to understand is that our story, we're just unlucky. Honestly, this can happen to any building, not in York Southwestern, in the GTA in Ontario. What you're seeing here is this is a profitable business for not only Brendan Riley, but the dozens of other companies that are trying to do the exact same thing he is. This city will be cored of all people who are working class. And in our own street, if you go to, if you look up 2419, there are identical buildings to our left, to our right on the entire street. And they're going to come for you. They will, if this is not stopped. Right now, I understand that we do need laws against renovictions. We need laws against evictions, period, because tenants don't have a lot of places to go to when something like this happens to them. But right now, as a community, what we need is to make this as unviable a business as possible, which means to fight back as much as possible to make this a PR nightmare, which it deserves to be, and to as a community, no matter where you are, even if you're not in Ontario, as a community, you need to let these people know what you think of their business practice, what you think of their business, what you think of the entirety of their plan, because this like I said before, I was not aware of this practice before it happened to me. And you all need to be really, really informed of this, because I guarantee you this is only growing. This is, there are hundreds of cases in Toronto. If you go to Renovictions TO, you'll see a map that is astonishing of Renovictions and attempts to increase the rent above what they're supposed to be. It is another kind of pandemic, and it is just a storm that's coming. I can't stress this enough. You have to be with us now to stop it, because it will hit you. It will hit someone you care about. And right now, there's not really much else we can do other than bring awareness to this and put as much pressure on this as possible, because this is going to be hanging over our heads. We can make this last for a long time. We can make this last for way longer than Brendan Riley wants it to last. But it's still over our heads. We just want to live our life. We just want to do, we are hardworking. We come home, we're with our families, we have hobbies, we want to relax. We do not want, this is wonderful that you're having this conversation with us. No, if I were to plan my own present, if I was to plan what I was doing right now, it would not be having this conversation. It would be doing literally anything else. And it is like, this is a battle for us. I don't want to fight. I fought a whole year already. We all have. And this is our reward. This is our reward for fighting a whole year, for going out there and doing our job, for losing our jobs for something that we didn't do, for having our jobs reduced, but still making rent. Not that you should be evicted for not being able to make your rent right now, but we did it. We did it. If anyone's watching this and that is the line for you, that you think people who can't make rent because of a situation that doesn't involve them can't do it, okay, I'm not going to have that argument. But we made it. We paid our bills, we made our rent, we took care of the building, and the end of a hellish year. Thank you very much. Get out of here.
That's not right.
And please, if anyone's watching this, go to facebook.com/save2419. We have a community up there right now. You can find out how to get involved. You can find out all the information you need. If you do live in a rental place right now and your rent is affordable, please look up all the information on Renovictions and be prepared in case this ever happens to you. Because one thing we were very smart at doing is that we organized very quickly. I believe that the other buildings that Brendan Riley was able to do this to, unfortunately, were alone. I know a few people tried to fight, but they organized too late. So get to know your neighbors now, let them know about this information, and keep apprised of the situation, because again, Mr. Hassan, I really do appreciate you doing this, but politics are slow. Reform is slow. In the meantime, people are going to be kicked out of their affordable housing. And there's not very much affordable housing being made. So please stay vigilant. Please support us and support every other building going through this right now, because the only way we'll be able to all survive this as a community in the GTA in Ontario is to stick together and push back as much as possible. Please put as much pressure on Brendan Riley as you can, on Riley Real Estate. Look him up. Write him a letter telling your support. Please demand that he removes the N13s from 2419. and let him think about what you think about his business. Honestly, I'm not telling you what to say. I'm just saying, this is your community. Tell him what you think about his business. Tell the other companies what you think about their business. Enough pressure, you make this thing completely unviable. You make this thing not worth it. You make this thing too expensive, too hard to do. And that way you at least slow this down. And that's kind of all I have to say about that.
Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate. I'll just quickly take the and thank those also who joining us live. Facebook.com Faisal Hassan NDP. I'll just read quickly a tenant who is just Emina Koskach. If I'm mispronouncing your name, forgive me. Says, just wanted to note that I don't think it is helpful to talk about good and bad tenants. Tenants fall behind on rent because they don't have money, and especially in a pandemic. I don't think this is rhetoric is helpful. Well, thank you. That's a very good comment. When we are saying specifically the 2419 Keele Street are good tenants because they have been paying their rent on time, they've been following the rules, they've been doing their part, and this is what they have been rewarded. Because majority of the landlords are saying, oh, tenants don't pay their rent, the tenants are just messing up our buildings, blah, 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 blah. But this is a great example where tenants are really doing their part, and this is what they have been done. So that's what we meant, Emina. And she says, tenants need to stay together, whether they fall behind on rent or not. Thanks. We take a lot of inspiration in your struggle. Well, thank you for your comment. And thank you for your solidarity. We do appreciate Emina Koschanka. And thank you also, Sarah Ali says, good discussion, stay strong. Well, thank you. And I think it's a good idea, Flynn, that we all write to Brandon Riley Real Estate Ventures, all the residents of York Southwestern, write to him. Do we know, can anyone put on the chat room his email so that people really know his email there? Can anyone do that? And that way we'll be able to, people will be able to communicate and found out Brandon's email. Let me see if I can get around here. Just give me a minute. I think it's a good idea that people write to him so that they can see, and let me see if I could put his email here. Let me have his email. Is that his email? I think I might have his email here.
Well, yeah, the thing about
Ventures?
rreventures.net.
Yeah, so it is, I believe, Brandon, it's BRENDAN at rreventures.net. That is it. So you guys can write to him and tell him these are great tenants. They love their community. They have been contributing a meaningful way by looking after their building, paying their rent on time. And what else a landlord wants, you know? No one is behind the rent. Everybody has been a good example. This should be rewarded. And I think the Premier and the Minister of Housing, Municipal Affairs and Housing should also get involved and intervene this, because this is unacceptable. If our frontline workers, decent, hardworking members of our community are treated like this, these are included seniors, children, and also frontline workers. So we need to do something about that. And I ask you, all the members of the community, to write to him and raise your concern about that. You could actually check on the on our chat room down there. You could see Brandon Riley Real Estate's email, and we have to put more pressure to tell him you can do what you want. You can do the renovations. The tenants are willing to work with you in that regard, and make sure that, you know, so far you are making so much profit because these tenants are really paying on time and so forth. So I'll also quickly take another comment from Omera Landy. Says, great points made by the people of 2419 Keele Street tonight. Our gentrification starts in an area. It pushes the people who originally built the community out and forces them disrupt their lives, use up their savings to relocate, and that is not acceptable. Well, thank you for your comments there. Just quickly, have you guys also contacted our city councillor, Frances Nanziara? Because she's also responsible for municipal jurisdiction. And I think it's very important. Have any of you communicated to intervene in this and to also work with you?
Yes, we've actually we've spoke actually, me and her this morning. So she is aware, and she advised me that after this town hall meeting to basically give her a little bit of a summary of what we've talked about. But she is very well aware that you know, you are involved, Faisal, and she'd like to learn more about our situation.
Very good. Well, definitely then I will write to her solidarity with you and say that let's work together. How could we convince Brandon Raleigh Real Estate Venture to simply work with you? Because this is a great example that you're decent, hardworking people who have been contributing significantly in our community, in Toronto. You know, our premier says frontline heroes, you know, and these are essential workers. And if our essential workers are treated like this, because this landlord with a lot of money could come and buy it and simply wants them to go somewhere else, what should we do? What is our value as a community? And I think every single member of our community in York Southwestern should be writing to Brandon Raleigh Real Estate Venture to stop this and to work with the community. And I'll be happy to sit with him and to really tell him, you know, just withdraw N13 and work with the tenants. I think we have all, yes, Andre.
Sorry, I just wanted to add, I think our main message here is, like you said, to take away the N13 notice, because COVID or no COVID, we are all human beings. And with COVID, it makes it worse. But even without COVID being a situation right now, it's been our home for many years. And us as tenants, we haven't done anything wrong. So we're not, COVID, yes, it does make it worse. It makes it more cruel because you're evicting us in the middle of a pandemic. But even if the pandemic wasn't happening right now in the world, it's still cruel to kick us out when we've been here for many years. We were a family building, and I think this has even brought us even closer together. So like I said, just COVID or no COVID, it's just wrong. It's cruel. So if maybe, I don't know, hopefully this gets to Brandon, maybe he can realize that we're here, we're willing to work with him, we're willing to have a tenant and landlord relationship, but we're not gonna just sit here and watch him remove us, take us all one by one, and ruin and demolish our homes just to up the price, because it's been our home for many years. And my mom, I'm pretty sure she has a lot to say as well, but she gets very emotional when she speaks, so that's why she doesn't speak, so I speak for her. But yeah, that's my message.
Well, thank you. You have articulated very clearly. And anyone else would like to say concluding remarks that you want to share with our neighbors, our community in York Southwestern, because there are a lot of like you, decent, hardworking members of our community who are also outraged this practice of simply deceiving the community by simply saying it, or we are, renovating so you can go somewhere else and then you can come back later on. This legislation should be really looked at very carefully and banned altogether, because it's not. And how do we see? Now we see it. This is deceiving us, all of us, by saying that I want just to renovate If that's your objective, you can actually do it while the community is there. It has been done in many buildings across the province. The tenants are there and landlords can actually do their part for renovating and all that. And you're willing to work with that. And I'd say it's very important to also have a wonderful relationship between the landlord and the tenant. And the example you have shown all of us in York Southwestern is something we could be proud of, because most of the time the landlord says the tenants are horrible. They say they're not paying their rent, they're destroying our buildings because of these reasons. We're doing this, we're doing that. But now we see the positive message you have shown, the example, the great example you have shown to Ontario. We want now our elected members of the legislature and city to do something about this, because this is a great example that we can do something. And I think also I will give Paktel High Park to also say a few words before we conclude.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's important as tenants and as working class people that we don't buy into what the landlords say. The landlords might claim this and that tenants are trying to take advantage of the system, or that tenants are, not behaving properly. But really, let's look at the reality of the situation. Landlords have a financial incentive to remove sitting tenants because they can raise the rent with no limit once the old tenant is removed. So a lot of things that landlords say about tenants in terms of how they act badly or are trying to take advantage of the system simply aren't true. It's the way that the landlords try to push the idea that tenants deserve to be evicted, because under the system that we live in, evictions make landlords money. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And anyone else before we conclude? I know that we have just passed 1 minute, one more. And if anyone wants to say something, I think it is fine. Any comments? If not, then I will thank you. Thank you, my neighbors and tenants of 2419 Keele Street. And folks, neighbors and friends, you have heard each and everyone member of the tenants of 2419 Keele Street, and this unfair eviction notice is wrong. And again, Brandon Raleigh Real Estate Ventures should simply withdraw N13. I thank you, and you can also write. His email is on our chat room on Faisal Hassan NDP. And write to him. Anyone can write to him and tell him to simply withdraw N13. I thank you for joining us. Also, those who have joined us tonight on Facebook, all of you, those who have shared your comments, we thank you once again. And how can the rest of the community contact you, Flynn, on if they want to contact you?
So you can go to facebook.com/save2419. You'll be able to message us there. You'll have all the information about what we're doing, updates, ways you can help, ways you can put pressure on Riley Real Estate Ventures and Brendan Riley himself. We have a lot of links where you can go and tell Brendan Riley your opinion. And we really do, like I said, ask you to put as much community pressure on him as possible, and let people like this know that this is an unacceptable practice, and that you will stand up to it and you will support people going through this.
Thank you, and thank you to all. And folks, if you want to join me tomorrow also I will having another Facebook meeting right here at 3 p.m. to 4 to simply answer your questions and comments regarding the last week's issues of the legislature and any issues that you might want to talk to me about. I'll be looking forward to joining me from 3 to 4, the same location, facebook.com, Faisal Hassan NDP. Till then, this is Faisal Hassan. We are member provincial parliament. You have been watching a virtual town hall meeting with the residents and our neighbors of 2419 Keele Street. Until then, thank you and bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.